Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review. We're the host of the What Do You See Anime podcast, nominate and vote on shows that either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the 7th Division Boys will be discussing and reviewing the first season of the 2018 anime Golden Kamuy. Let's meet today's idols. First up, when he dies, it is rumored that he'll become the legendary Factor Kamui. We have Jay. Jay, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. Happy to be here discussing Golden Kamuy.
Very happy to have you, Mr. J Factor. Next up, he just got back hunting CG bears and warming up the fire gifts. We got Cat. Cat, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I'm just drinking a 3 liter Coke. Um,
3 liter. They make those?
It's a North
Yeah.
Carolina thing.
it's a North
Huh.
Carolina thing.
Wow.
And Pat.
Yeah, Pat. There we go. Yeah, Pat. Pat is back. Well, that was so much faster than normal. Normally, I get to listen to you talk for like 2 minutes, like making fun of us, and but this time it came quick. It's weird, having only four of us on tonight.
I mean,
But,
Pat, you know me. I'm known for coming fast.
wow, we're really we're scraping the bottom of the barrel with the jokes already tonight. This is
It was actually
is-
hilarious.
This is a good sign for most people to just tune out now, but it's okay. It's okay. Those of us that are here to discuss Golden Kamuy, one of my favorite shows of the past 5 or 6 years. So yeah, we're gonna do our usual spoiler-free first impressions with the four of us here tonight. Again, we'll keep it to the first few episodes, what you knew about it going into it, yada yada yada. The show, by the way, just for anyone who's curious, was made by Geno Studio, who's known for doing Pet. So, and that's it, other than Golden Kamuy. So.
Well, they did Kokaku, which is known for having one of the best OPs tied to one of the worst animes ever made.
Oh yeah, well there you go. That's another one. I didn't know
Sounds
that.
like that.
Yeah, it sounds
The,
like
the
Pet
OP
too. There you
the
go.
OP is incredible, but the show is hot dog water.
Well, good to know. But either way, that does not reflect on the quality of Golden Kamuy, I don't think, at least. So yeah, why don't we start? Normally we start with Miles, but Miles is not with us tonight. So Kat, why don't we start with you? What is your first impression and your would you recommend this show to someone?
I, my first impressions have gotta be that this show just blows, like it subverts your expectations in a way that is not normally the way that shows would normally subvert your expectations. Uh, because the first episode just seems like it's gonna be like one of those generic shonen or seinen, like bloody da da da. And then you get a bit through it, and you're just like, what is this? This is so good. Like it it the first episode might not bring you in, but the second episode definitely will. It's so good. And it only gets better from there. And it keeps getting better from there from that point. Because we're 3 seasons in and we're still like it's still drawing people in. And I love it. I love every bit of it. I would definitely recommend it. I recommended it to my wife. She wanted to be on the episode today, but things happened. But yeah,
No worries. Awesome. Heavy recommendation from Cat himself. Jay, what about you? What do you think?
So, this might come as a surprise to you guys, as I'm the one who nominated Golden Kamuy to begin with, but I'm going to start this off by saying that I definitely recommend this show. It's got, like, pretty much something for everybody, I would say. You open up, and like Kat said, you really think it's going to be this kind of generic historical seinen thing with, like, this overpowered protagonist. And the thing about it is like, yeah, you have the overpowered protagonist somewhat, but everybody's also being ridiculous. And that's just in like the first two episodes of people doing absolutely ridiculous stuff. And if you're not someone who lives for like the combat scenes and stuff, I mean, see one of our last episodes, you got those Yuru camp level cooking and camping simulations basically explaining how they lived out in the Japanese wilderness of Hokkaido back then, and look into the lives of the indigenous people of Japan as well. So like, no matter what type of person you are, if you're someone who is there for just like raw action, or if you're somebody who's there to like actually learn something, you will get something out of Golden Kamuy. I would highly recommend it.
Nice. All right, 2 for 2 so far. Pete, make it 3 for 3, I assume.
Yeah, the only problem that I have with this show is that I waited this long to watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed every second of watching Golden Kamuy. I just, on paper, it just doesn't look like the show that it actually is. And I fell in love with so many aspects of the show. There's like, I mean, the characters are great, the situations are great. It's just, it blends, it does a really good way of blending like the seriousness with the comedy, with the adventure, with the realness. It's a whole hodgepodge of what I'm looking for, and sometimes in like these styles of anime, like a Mob Psycho, like that style of show where you have like your funny dialogue, but then when shit gets serious, it's not toned down. Like there's some pretty gruesome shit in the show. So it was just an overall fantastic experience, and I would recommend it to almost every single person. I think a lot of people are like me. They see this, they see the photo, and they're just like, meh, and then move on to My Hero, and then it's like when you realize like this show is. I mean, this is going on my top 100. This was an incredible show. I'm probably gonna start season 2 soon. Like that's how good it was.
You should. It only gets better. Man, what who's been preaching Golden Kamuy in this Discord for probably upwards of almost a year and a half now? God, who could have been doing that?
I mean,
Oh,
Both me and you.
Jay was definitely preaching the good word. Thank you,
yes.
Jay.
Thank you for
Jay.
nominating it so that we could vote for it. I think most of the people in this call, if I remember correctly, actually voted for it. So that's very interesting. Yeah, so I've been high on Golden Kamuy ever since I first watched it. I believe it was in 2019. Shout out one of my good friends from a history class in college, Callahan. He recommended the show to me because he found out I was a weeb by by my laptop background. He was like, "Oh, you like anime?" I was like, "Yeah." And he recommends Golden Kamuy to me because he's like, "Oh, if you like history, then you'd love this show." And I watched the first 2 seasons that were out in like overnight because I was just so mystified by it. And yeah, so that was my first initial way I found out about it. And I don't know if you know me and my taste, it makes sense that I would love this show too because it's a historical show, a little bit more on the mature or you know seinen side rather than shonen, and it's 20th century Japan, which is another part of history or a specific part of history that I love a lot as well. So this show is so great though in so many different ways. Not only is it historically like relevant and accurate with the key caveat of obviously a it's a fictional story, but it's accurate in the sense of what the times were like, social classes, how soldiers were treated when they returned from the Russo-Japanese War, and all sorts of things like that. That remained accurate, but then obviously the fictional element of the show was so well done. I think with the just the absurdity. Some people may have felt differently, but for me, it always felt like anything that happened in the show, even with it being so just stupid, just ridiculously absurd, it always felt somewhat grounded somehow, but in the setting of the show itself. To me at least. So I don't know. I like everyone else would recommend this show to almost anybody, and I have been for a very long time. I'm so glad we finally got a group to watch it because I could rant about this show for hours. It's gonna the hardest part for me is gonna be not spoiling anything for like seasons 2 and 3. I think when we talk about the show again. Man, you really need to watch season 2 and 3, Pete.
I
You gotta get the
will.
move on.
Believe me, this show hooked me.
Yes, so Hina Hina, that everyone around this call says Hina Hina to this show. So now let's move forward into our spoiler section. So anyone who has not seen up to the end of season 1 of Golden Kamuy should pause or come back to us some other time. Uh, but otherwise, we are going to get onto the spoiler section. So, why don't we do like a little bit more like general first impressions. I'm curious about Pete, especially because the other guys here have seen it before. What what was your general reaction to the premise of a heist set in 1900s Japan with just batshit crazy stuff like maps being drawn on like every prisoner's body and stuff for a hidden One Piece like treasure? What was your initial feeling about the plot?
Yeah, a big fan of like I guess it's like the kind of like there's like a yakuza type of element in this kind of. I'm a big fan of like mobsters. I'm a big fan of like Ocean's 11, the heist, that type of stuff where it's involved with like criminal organizations along with trying to get a shit ton of money. And that just absolutely resonated with me. I thought the premise was so cool. Just I mean, there's a reason why I like gravitate towards this medium is because we're able to do stories like this where I do think you could do a story like this in like real life, but some of the other aspects in terms of like the faces that they make and stuff like that, that's like the pure anime reason why I love it. I I fell in love with Sugimoto right away. Like it tells you immediately like why he's the immortal Sugimoto, which I thought was an incredible. Just like snippet. I didn't need an info dump. I understood it right away. Premise was great. Characters were great. Like the whole. There's like one bad thing about the show, like so far, and it's whatever. It's like it's so minor. It's not even like affecting my score to be honest. But
What is your bad thing? Is it the CGI bear? I'm
and
guessing,
like
or-
some of the backgrounds are really bad.
Yeah.
It's not just the CG, but there's some instances. There's like a scene where the guy was about to shoot the wolf, and they do like just do like a zoom up on like the tree and where the wolf is, and it was just like really poorly done. It kind of looked like parts of it was done in like colored pencils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's fine. Like it doesn't take me out of the show. I just like, oh, that's bad animation. To move on with my life, type of thing.
Right.
It's like it doesn't affect my score. It was just I just thought it was silly, and when I saw it, but I mean the overall premise of the show is incredible. I love it. I love the little like even like the slice of life shit that they do in the mountains is so heartwarming and fun. I don't know why. Okay, there's like a little scene where there's like a tree that fell down. And they're like, oh, we can build a hut in that, and then they do, and I don't know why, but I loved it. It's just minor things like that. I'm a big fan. I'm ranting, but someone else can talk.
No, that's good. I like that because Miles said that this is a better slice of life than Laid Back Camp, and I am inclined to agree with him on that.
I mean, I'm not gonna go there, but you know my stance.
Yeah, but he's like, I actually like the slice of life elements in this show more than Laid Back Camp because it like felt like they actually stuff actually happens in between the moments and the thing and during the slice of life moments. So I thought, I think my favorite aspect of the slice of life part, at least, and Jay, I'll let you go next, was getting to learn about the Ainu culture. Like again, like I made the joke earlier about Hina, like hearing that they say that. Who knows if that's actually true or not? I assume it is though, because most of the rest of the stuff in the show is pretty historically accurate. Like, oh, they eat was it the brain, I think, or something? They like pulverize it and it becomes like a specific it has its own name or whatever. Like and the Ainu don't use soy. Was it soy or miso? What is
Miso,
it?
yeah,
It's
they
miso.
think it's
So they're
poop.
like, oh my god, it smells like shit, which is true. But it's like, ew, that's poop. And it's like, oh wait, no, that's actually really good. So I just thought there's so many different like little things that they do that make the character relationships feel a lot better too, which we definitely will talk about the main two characters later. But Jay, go ahead.
Um. So I gotta be honest with you guys, and it's kind of awkward since we're doing this live, but the first time I watched Golden Kamuy, I kind of fell off of it. I didn't finish it. It's not because I didn't like it or anything. I just had other stuff that was playing at the time, like seasonally, as well as stuff I want to catch up on that caught me more. And I gotta be honest, probably a big regret of mine at this moment in time because I wish that I would have watched it all the way through back then and like been current with it as it was airing more seasons as well. Um I just really enjoyed it so much. Like I love the like use of factions within factions that they have going on with like the Seventh and Tsurumi's group and the people who don't necessarily see eye to eye with Lieutenant Tsurumi, as well as like I don't know, just the way that the characters that matter in this show are done is so good. They all have their very distinct ways that they act and interact with each other, which is so nice. It feels like most of the characters don't feel wasted necessarily, if that makes sense. Like I might not know their names entirely because it is a pretty wide cast of characters, but
It
if you
is.
describe somebody to me, I would know who they were, like Nikaido or Tsurumi or whomever, you know? So I think that just in general, I really enjoyed it. The only low point, I would agree that the low point for me as well was the CGI, but it didn't take me out of it or anything like that, really. Um, I more have chalked it up to it being the first season of a show. Like the common comparison we were making in the Discord chat was Attack on Titan's horses in the first season.
Yeah, it's
Like,
bad.
yeah. And I will say as a closing sentence, I'm sad that my boy Raytar got done so dirty because he looks bad sometimes. Um, but other than that, really cool. I'm super excited to see where the plot goes. I will definitely be continuing it soon.
Oh, so you haven't seen seasons 2 or 3 either?
No, I haven't.
Oh, shoot. Okay, Kat, so you and I are the only ones that know about Stenka.
Yes, sir. And
Yeah.
God, yes, it's so fun. So I definitely have to talk about I have to talk about some of the slice of life aspects of it. First of all, like Jay said, each one has a different way of coming at slice of life because, of course, you have Sugimoto and Asripa, which is kind of like this. There's some hints of like subtle romance going in. Well,
Mm-hmm.
and you, I'm still kind of confused about whether to feel uncomfortable about it or not. And then you've got Shiriaishi who adds in another
I
flavor
love
of
him
what
so
the
much.
fuck is going on. It's amazing.
I love Shiraishi.
Yes, because like whenever he's in the scene, like the slice of life moments, but with Sugimoto and Asripa are great. But when you add Shiriaishi into it, it just elevates it even more. And then having that like juxtaposed with uh Hoochie's interactions with what's his face? Um the the guy who was hunting with Tetsuo, the
Oh,
dude,
Ogata?
the boner dude. Yeah, Ogata. Yeah, he is amazing because like
Oh, wait,
you
no,
see
that's
him.
No, you're thinking of
Yeah,
Tanagaki.
Tanagaki.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tanagaki.
Yeah, because
Obata's
Ogata
another sharpshooter. Gotcha.
Ogata is the sniper.
Oh, he's
Also,
so good.
once you get later in the once you get in the second and third seasons, he is my favorite character. Like he is my
He's really
favorite.
good. He
Yeah.
gets more screen time and it's great. Uh Kat, I'm gonna disagree with you actually on the romance. This is one of my main compliments of the show actually, is that it was nice to, and again maybe it's, well no, but you've seen seasons 2 and 3. I think especially season 3 highlights this. To me, their relationship between between Asirpa and Sugimoto is not at all drawn in like a romantic way. To me, it's completely more like a camaraderie kind of way. Like it's a closeness that they feel, and they do love each other. But I don't think of it at all in like a romance way. I think of it more as like a
That
respect and like a desire to do right by each other. I don't know how you guys feel about it, Jay? What do you think?
I agree with you on that one. Like there was obviously like her grandma asking him to marry her and shit like that. And
Yeah.
that's more of just like I want to make sure she's taken care of than rather than I want you to be in love with my granddaughter.
Mhm.
Um and I think that that is reflected in their relationship actually because he is taking care of her in a way and she takes care of him. it's more of like, it's not romantic. It's more of like you have a hunting partner or something that you've been
Yeah.
going out with for like 20 years, and you know that if shit hits the fan, they will put their life on the limb for you, and you don't necessarily have to kiss about it.
Yeah, well, like he helps her because he's a big strong dude who can punch a bear and kill it.
Yeah.
She helps him by showing ways that they can just walk around the bear rather than finding it or something, like, like they complement each other well on this search. And granted, they could have done this as a plot point, but like I don't remember it ever being the case. It's like, no, they trust each other pretty much right off the bat. And they grow so close that it doesnn't feel like they feel like inseparable, which is again, I just loved that aspect of the show. Just the respect that they had for each other and the desire to help each other achieve their goals.
I agree.
There's like
So-
they have like a scene where Sugimoto's talking to a 7th division like guard, and they're talking about like maybe like a possible fallout within it, but then he's just like which side would you be on? Oh, no, sorry, that's a different scene. But he's talking with somebody, and he's just like, he has like a clue. He's just like, I can't do that because like then like my partner would be upset or something like that. It's just like you could see like that they have like, he has respect, even though like he wants the gold or whatever. It's like she still wants her to like complete like her task as well. Like they know that they can do both at the same time. It's just like, nah, we're in it together. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. Like it's kind of touching. And then I think somebody got stabbed by a bayonet the next scene or something. So it's just like, it's just like, oh, okay, let's mix it up.
Yeah, I guess we can move. Again, still talking about the characters, I suppose, because Miles highlighted that he doesn't love Sugimoto on his own because it felt like it was a bit too much, a little too anime extra, if that makes sense. Which I think can definitely. That's the big testing point for the show. I think in general for people is how like ridiculous are you willing to let it get before you're like, all right, come on, let's move on. For me, and this comes from someone who doesn't like JoJo's either, so that's why it's so weird to me that I love this show. I've almost described it as like JoJo's light before. Like it's like
I agree.
a little bit. It's somewhere in between the full on just batshit crazy JoJo's and your run of the mill everyday shonen where I don't know, just Naruto, right? Where like, oh, they have ninja powers. It's like, okay, that's somewhat reasonable, but like it's not also holy shit, this person just, like got shot in the chest 3 times and they're still walking and they're fine, whatever.
Hold on. Somebody gets stabbed through the face with a bayonet and is alive for like a minute.
Yeah.
So there's some scenes where I'm just like, hold on, what? He's like having a full conversation with this guy while there's a bayonet through his eye.
Well, might not have gone all the way through. You never know.
I did. It was lodged in the wood behind him.
Hey, sometimes that happens. Just sometimes it does. No, sometimes your brain can still
Stranger
work.
things have happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In real, no, actually though, people who gotten shot in the head and lived in to talk about it. It happens.
People have
I mean, you're right. You're right. It's just funny.
I mean, look at Carl from The Walking Dead. There you go.
I do not get that reference.
Yeah, spoiler. Also for like season 4 of The Walking Dead, which if you haven't watched it by now, then I'm sorry.
I will never watch it.
It's a good show.
I disagree.
Anyways, yeah. So I guess again, like we said, so I think most of us agree that somewhere. I mean, it definitely gets to JoJo's levels at times, but it pretty consistently is like somewhere in between. I think that's a good place to for us to label it. For me, I loved the main plot's setting as well. Like the idea of a heist taking place in like this time period in Japan, and with I don't know, just having how many prisoners is it? Like 30 or something like that have the different
20
tattoos on their backs. 24. Okay. Like that's so cool, and it's like also so unrealistic that okay, yeah, 24 people who are escaping from a prison, none of them are going to die ever until they have their back prints like covered whatever or traced. Like it's so unrealistic, But again, you're in it for the ride. You're not in it for the realism. You're in it for to see the quest happen. And I don't know. I also just love how they tie in the Ainu, which are a real race or group of people in Japan's history, and they highlight the plights that they're going through. They highlight the strengths that their culture has, and they also highlight the weaknesses that their culture have as well. Like, in terms of like adapting to modern times, or what uh, what's the word? What negatives, I guess, or negative impacts the Russo-Japanese War had on them, and then also like, hey, the Japanese soldiers when they came back from the war, what was their mental shape like? How were they reimbursed? And you look at the whole reason why Sugimoto's doing this, right, is to uh, for his comrade's wife, right? He's trying to get her the gold so that she can live a happy life or whatever, so that he can take care of her and do something for her, like that. I don't know, I just love all the different aspects of the plot that somehow create this entire web of like people um and motivations, and turn it into somehow a coherent story, which maybe isn't the case by the end of season one, but as it continues, I think it really does clarify things more and continue to ramp it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It feels like a good western or something
Yeah.
almost. Like big western like you could change the characters over to be like veterans
John
from the
Wayne.
Mexican American War and have it be looking for Native American gold, and the story
Yeah,
would be almost
100%.
exactly the same.
Yeah, and that's why I think maybe we can discuss this a little bit. This show is extremely not popular in the West compared to its popularity in the East. So to say that it's not popular is probably wrong, but like uh if you're looking at, maybe let's say 20% of the viewers of My Hero are from the US versus 80% are from Japan, which obviously again those are not real numbers, but in this case, it would be more like 5% of viewers come from the US versus 95%. Like the vast majority of the people that love this show are in Japan, which is why it still gets so many new seasons. It's kind of nice that we actually did this watch club. I think within the last 2 weeks, season 4 got announced. So that's really exciting for fans of the show, especially considering where season 3 left off. I cannot wait. But I think, go ahead.
I would definitely love to talk about because I would definitely love to talk about how the dub of this show does does kind of improve the show a little bit. And I'm a sub superior superior yeah. I
Yes.
I am racist against dubs. But I am but this show's dub did very well, and I watched the first time I watched it in sub. The second time I watched the first season, I had watched it in sub. The third time, this time, I watched it in dub because my wife doesn't like watching shows in sub. So we watched it, and I got a lot of I the narrator was more uh the narrator talking about the history of Japan and what's going on inside of the show helps kind of like clear up a little bit of it. And I think that because of the way that the dub was conducted, it might be able to kind of entice more people to watch the show and be a little bit more accessible. Because maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I have ADHD. But I was watching the show in sub, and I was like the first time, and I didn't get much of the information that the show was trying to tell me, because it's sub. You're trying to read through everything. You're trying to match each word up with each character because it's in a different language and all that. And in dub, you know which character is which.
Are you just describing what subs and dubs are?
Maybe.
I was like, Cat. People know what these are.
Look,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's some dude that just walked on YouTube and was just like, "Hey, let me watch this fucking Chad's
Whoa.
YouTube video about the show.
I am no Chad.
Oh,
Look. All I
So-
gotta say is the dub does not have Kinjiro Suda as a voice
No.
actor in it, so that means it is automatically inferior.
Yeah,
to me.
Ogata's
It
voice
is.
actor is phenomenal.
he
I-
is.
So
For
is
those
so
of you
is,
at home, he's also Nanami in Jujutsu Kaisen, as
Yeah.
well as Seto
He
Kaiba in the
is.
dub of Yu-Gi-Oh!
And it is so
Or some
fucking good. I'm just saying that is a little bit more accessible in dub.
Yeah, I
Cat,
can agree
Cat,
with that,
I'm just
but
blown away by this topic. I am just
for real.
I'm just you're blowing my mind right now.
It
I had
went
to let it
from
rock.
we let it run while we let it run.
Hey
But yeah,
guys, real quick. Did you know that when you watch subs they have words on the bottom?
okay, that's
People die when they are killed.
Yes.
I
wow.
see.
We're being mean. That was mean, but that's
That
funny.
wasn't mean. We're
it's
clowning on
funny
each other. We're
too.
clowning on each other.
Mean in a
We're
funny
all
way.
friends
That's
here.
why
It's all love, Cat.
why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but anyways, let's bring ourselves back into, I guess the point that
Into
I
the
was
real world.
back into the point that I was trying to make. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
now,
which
because-
was? 'Cause-
You're talking
Yeah,
about how
because Cat derailed me so hard. God damn it.
you were talking about how it's more popular in the
Yes,
in Japan
that's right.
than the
Yeah,
United
so
States.
I don't know. I've never watched the dub for this, but I don't know if I would. I can definitely see where Cat's coming from, where that it would, because like the first time I watched this as well, I was watching in sub obviously, and I definitely had to pause or rewind at a few points, being like, "Wait, this person double crossed that person, or wait, what? Who's on whose side? Like, what's going on?" So many times I had to like pause and think about it or look it up. But I think the more that you watch the show, of course, this is gonna sound like now I'm describing how to watch a show and understand.
Yeah,
a
did you know
story,
that
but
sequels are normally scored higher than the first season?
that's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying though the more of a show you watch, the more you'll understand it. Yeah, what a great take. Matt. Like, genuinely, it does help it.
Bro,
It
that's
does help.
fucking amazing. Didn't
I
even
know,
fucking
it's-
think about that.
I know, but that I guess my point is that by the third season, I have figured out who's on what side, and maybe it's more clear because of the timing of the plot and like the things that have happened and the people that have died. Because people do actually die in this show too, which is great. I love it. Like, yeah, people survive completely ridiculous bullshit things, but there is also permanence in death, and there is permanence in things that happen related to the plot. So that's I don't know. Again, that's another thing that I think the show does well. But I just wonder why. I guess the whole historical setting in Japan maybe helps it do so well in Japan, because like I know especially because it's about Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island of Japan, or the northernmost main island, so to speak, and it's super popular up there because not a lot of anime take place up there. Most of them are Tokyo or Kyoto or one of the other main cities in the southernmost island, right? So I wonder if that's why it's so popular in Japan, because I really, it's so fascinating because whenever you look at the numbers for it, it is such a significant difference versus like, your usual anime. It's probably, half Western, half Eastern fans talking about it in like a setting or something. And maybe that number is wrong too, but like, it's never as noticeable of a gap as it is with this one.
I was trying to think
Yeah,
of like other shows that are like super popular in Japan compared to here that have like 4+ seasons, and it's like Natsume's Book of Friends, which is just like massive in Japan. Then like, do you know anybody who watches Natsume's Book of Friends in America? Like that has 7 seasons and like 4 movies. Mushishi has like 6 seasons. Like, do you know anybody who watches Mushishi? Like,
Maybe like Conan or something like really old like that.
Oh, yeah,
Or Sazae-san.
yeah, it's just really interesting, like to see the popularity in terms of like its season 1's at like 630, and it has 4 seasons, and it's pretty good ranked. So it's like you'd think that'd be, to me, like that would be like the factor for me to watch it. Like, oh, it's getting 4 seasons. Oh, it's like it has season 3 is like an 8.3. Like those are clear indications that this show is good. And for some reason, it just never clicked with my brain. Like, and like I loved like Vinland Saga. Like, that's historical. I mean, it's anime. It's not Japanese setting, but it's like it's a historical anime, and I'm just like, I fucking love that story. Like, of course I would love Golden Kamuy. Spoiler alert, I did. Like, wow. Come on, Pete, use your brain.
Yeah, wow. If only Pat had been saying to watch this show for so long.
Hey, I've told
That's the J Factor, baby.
It's the J Factor.
It is
the only
J
people
Factor.
I've told to read Berserk and they don't. Like, come on. That's how I
watched
feel.
read
Berserk
Berserk.
a little bit. That's fair.
I watched
Also,
the
great
2017
dog cameo, Jay.
Thank
By
you.
the way, very very good boy or girl. Boy or
Girl.
girl. Very good girl. All right. So not to derail the conversation any further, I guess do we want to talk about the maybe the final arc or the final part of the episodes that we're going on like in at the end of season 1? What do you guys feel like you have enough of an understanding of what happened first off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can,
like
can I mention something real quick before we do?
Yeah,
But
gladly.
it kind of ties into that, but it's one of the things that I absolutely loved about Golden Kamuy is the fallout of the army itself after the war, and how the 7th Division are kind of like, I don't know if they're trying to be like a coup or like a crime syndicate or like exactly what they're trying to do, but I love that we see like,
It's Metal Gear Solid. It's
Yeah.
literally the plot of Metal Gear Solid. Is
Yeah,
what they're trying to do.
yeah, it's I love that fallout where you have like the 7th, and then you have someone like Ogata who's kind of like doing his own thing, but is like also in the 7th, but like not really. And then he's clashing with like Tanagaki and his thing. I love how there's like another story within the story going on, because like that makes sense. It's not like the war just ended and then now we're looking for gold. It's like, nah, there's a fallout to this. And it's just one thing I give like absolute props to the storytelling. It's just so well done. Just I feel like it's really hard to do, and they're handling it, how they're like intertwining the stories together is just really well done. So props to that.
Yeah. I agree.
I definitely agree.
Oh, the dog in the show too, so good.
Yeah.
Not even the wolf character. The wolf is great too. You know, that's a great character too. But the dog, I just loved it. Oh, such a good show.
I'd
Go ahead.
love to talk about crap. I would love to talk about how the crap, I just thought.
Are we not tying this into what Pat was saying?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm trying to. I'm just trying to get my brain to work. So
get there,
I'd
man.
love
Don't
to
hurt
talk
yourself.
about how. So when Ogata and you, I want to say Yatsa, you
Man, pull up the map. What are you doing, bro? This is your first.
I
Is this
just
your
did.
first time?
Yeah, I don't know their names. I know Sugimoto and then Sirpa, and it's like, all right, after that, oh yeah, Tsukamichi's pretty cool. There's that white skinned bitch with the weird ass. What is it? Inkarmat? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
The
it is.
fortune teller.
Yes.
Yeah. The let's see. What is the Nikaido?
Yeah.
The Nikaido brothers. The dude who gets his fucking ear cut off. Like,
What a gruesome
Both-
scene.
it is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just want to talk about, like, I really would like to talk about the gruesomeness of this show, because like you have people getting fucking like uh the fucking ball food, rice balls, like that, those sticks shoved into their cheeks. You get people getting fucking bayonets in the head, people's face getting cut off by bears. Like, you got great gruesome scenes in this show, like shit that normally would make me like not really dry heave, but like would make me a little bit nauseous. Doesn't even affect me because the show is not. It's focused on it, but it's not focused on it for too long, where it's like trying to draw nausea out of you, and it does it in a way that I love. Basically, what I'm trying to ask is like, what is your favorite gruesome scene out of this show?
Our favorite gruesome scene.
Yes.
Um, For me, I really liked when the wolf killed that guy. Um, it just tied like the story together with the. Why am I blanking on the wolf's name? I'm sorry.
Ritar.
Retar, yeah, like
Yeah.
it tied together the Retar scene from previous where he hears like the howling and leaves, um,
Yeah.
uh, leaves the girl, and then it all comes together that like he left because he has a family, and I was like, oh, that was sweet. Like we tied things
Yeah.
together. Let's no loose ends. That scene that was there in episode 3 was there for a reason. I love it. And I just loved how he just like chomped it, guy's jugular, and just like, yep, you're gone, bro. And he knows it, and he's just like, I'm gonna spend my last moment with my dog. And I'm like, damn. All right,
Mm.
that's a way to go out. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was my favorite quote gruesome scene.
Yeah. I would say for me, it would probably have to be whenever Sugimoto fights the Nikaido brothers, and then they're taking him on the sled. And Surumi is like, "Why did you put the belt back on?" And he looks and he realizes that freaking Sugimoto stole the dude's guts to pretend to be injured. And just the thought of him doing that is like, oh my god, that's some like it's some literal Rambo type shit, you
Yeah,
know?
like painting himself in blood to hide the scent or something. Just like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
He's basically like he's I think he's based off of like a World War II soldier from Japan or something like that, but high key Rambo vibes. Or like Arnold in fucking Predator vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just liked anytime Sugimoto gets hit in the head and he's bleeding, and it's just like, oh god, yeah, he'd have brain damage if he was a normal person, but he's too strong-willed to do so, so it's great. And sometimes he gets stupid in in the show too, like he gets hit in the head and then he's kind of like dazed and like just like a vessel rather than thinking like a person, and it's great. I just love him in this show so much. I think that's, I guess, not as gruesome as other things. I think more the more gruesome things that I recall from the show are seasons 2 and 3. So maybe I will keep my mouth shut
Ooh,
about those,
good to
obviously.
know.
So yes, yeah, oh yeah, no, the show does not tone down either. Some shows will do that first few episode fake out. Let's say, just again, the easy one to pick on is Goblin Slayer, right? Where it
Yeah.
comes out and the first episode is rough,
Yeah.
and like, oh, this is the darkest show with a lot of dark shit going on, like, no, and then the rest of the show, I mean, it's gory and bloody, but it's not nearly,
As
you know
bad as the first.
and not as bad. Yeah, the first episode's for the shock factor, and this show, like, no, it actually is pretty consistent throughout. Like, it is a mature telling, or a story that's being told, and the things that happen in it are very scary and terrifying to think about happening to you. And then also, there are a lot of funny things that happen that would be terrifying to have happen to you. One in particular from the third season that you guys stopped me from spoiling last time that I was very tempted to do this time too, but I won't. I think Kat knows which scene I'm talking about. It's right near the end. Uh, you know, just a certain embrace that happens. That's all I'll say. And that left me scarred watching that scene. I remember sitting there being like, "Oh my god!" Like,
Mm.
ew. And just, anyways, you guys should really watch Golden Kamuy seasons 2 and 3. I really would love to talk to you guys about it.
I'm
Um,
definitely rewatching
give
season two and
give
season
me a little
three.
bit, and I will
no,
definitely.
you need to do it tonight. This is a mandatory thing, I think. Um, but yeah, so all right. I don't know. Do we want to talk about maybe our best character, maybe, or favorite character, maybe? Yeah, because like there's like two girls in the show other than the grandmother, right? So that rather than Noba-chan. So like, why don't we just do like best character or favorite character, maybe? And Kat, why don't we start with you? Who's your favorite character?
God, you started with me, and I'm like, I don't want to spoil the second and third season. So I can't. So if it was all 3 seasons, Ogata, hands down. But since it is just the first season, which is really fucking hard, I really, it's really a toss up between I forgot his name again. Hunter Boy. with the broken leg. Huh?
Yeah.
Tanagaki.
Yeah, I have to go with Tamagaki because of his interactions with Hochi and
Mm.
and Poot Boy. They're
Oh shit! Hey,
so
Miles is in general. He might
yeah.
be.
We can't mess up the overlay, so he'll join us
Oh
after to
shit!
talk
You're
about
right.
it afterwards.
Damn.
But yeah, no worries. So yeah, the good choice, Cat. I like that choice a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Jay, what about you then?
Uh, I just want to give an honorable mention to someone who I wanted to be around for a lot longer than he was. And that would be our little season 1 mini boss, Tetsuso Nihei. Um a gay or bisexual icon. I'm not sure of which. I don't necessarily care. He is the hunter that was hunting with our boy Tanagaki, and I just loved everything about his style, like the way he cooked and talked about like how everything gave him increased libido and stuff. And his very obvious attempts to move on Tanagaki were fucking hilarious to me.
Yeah.
In general, I like the way this show does LGBT representation a lot. I'll just pretty much leave it at that. If anybody wants to go and watch it, I think it's pretty well done for the most part. So that guy is definitely with his basically like a double barrel shotgun but long range type deal. I loved that. His weapon was pretty sick. And but as for my favorite character, I gotta go with my boy Ogata. He's just so
So good.
awesome.
So good.
Like his character is badass as hell. Everything he like the way he uses his arm as like a sniper stand is so freaking cool. His skill set is great, and the Kinjiro Suda voice acting just makes it brings it over the top to just like a near perfect character for me personally. And hearing Kat say that he gets better over the course of the seasons has me real excited to
Yeah, you should watch
continue
Golden
this.
Kamuy seasons 2 and 3.
I'm going to start tonight. I'm going to start season 2 tonight.
Good.
I'm watching with my partner, so I'm waiting for her to get home from work. That's all.
Yes, season 1 has a pretty if I recall correctly, it has a pretty decent cliffhanger. Season 2, oh boy, having to wait after season 2 for
I
season 3 was
remember that.
it was
Oh,
brutal.
it's terrible.
Yeah, it was really rough. But Pete, who are your favorite characters? Or
I think the beauty of this show is that there's like 9 possible answers for this question because for so many different reasons. I was switching between like it was Shiriashi, just like his little gimmick. I didn't get sick of it. Sugimoto at times, how he can switch from like casual to serious to clown in like a second. I want to see more of Surumi. I think his character just design is incredible. And speaking of voice acting, I thought that guy's voice acting was just so sinister. He just sounded like if I heard his voice in like a back alley, like I wouldn't turn around. I'd be so scared. Like his voice just resonates. I'm gonna go to my girl, Asirpa.
Asirpa.
I loved her. Oh my god, she was just adorable. She was so much fun. I loved the whole miso soup bit. That was her faces that she makes, and just like
She has the best faces in the series.
she has 2 clutch 360 no scope moments, saving Retar and then saving Sugimoto from getting stabbed with that giant whale spear. Loved her. Loved every second that she was involved. Towards the end, where she's like, "We can't find their bodies. Is this them?" And it's like a fish sandwich. They're like, "No, that's a fish sandwich." And then she brings up that joke again. I'm just like, but it's because she's like just waking up because she was asleep the whole time. I thought that was just a hilarious, just her character in general. Where she just, I don't know why, but characters who just like fall asleep and say fall asleep and then wake up are all like discombobulated. Stupid character trope. Absolutely love it. But the thing is, like, Sugimoto was my favorite character for like 3 episodes, and then whatever was my favorite episode. Ogata was my favorite for like 2 episodes. It's like, oh, they're so good. This cast is just incredible. It's like honestly top 10 casts I've ever seen in anime. I fucking loved everybody. It was so well done. And it's like we're only gonna get more from them. And I'm only gonna fall unless they die. I'm only gonna fall in love with them more. So it's just bravo to Golden Kamuy and its writing and its characters and all that shit. I mean, just so good. Just so good. It's the only way to describe it. It's just so good.
Yeah, man, Pat is so good at recommending things, isn't he?
What do you mean? I'm the one who nominated.
You are the one who.
That was the
finally
J
nominated
factor,
it.
baby. Hold on.
It was the J factor that made you.
That's the J factor, baby.
Okay.
I love saying people's jokes louder.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know, it
equivalent of
works.
this in anime club. It works.
It does. All right, my favorite characters. So like Kat, I have knowledge that makes it impossible for me to just say from season 1. So, for me, Tsukushima Hajime, the sergeant underneath Tsurumi, is my favorite, especially after his backstory. You'll learn that in season 2 or 3. I can't remember which, but he's just phenomenal. He's my favorite character in the show. But if I was just going off season 1, I think it'd have to be either Sugimoto himself or Genjiro. It just all the scenes with them had me laughing my ass off because they're like comrades, but they're also just they butt heads all the time too, and they're just again like everyone else has said so far. The cast is so phenomenal. There's almost no bad characters, I would say, and I don't think there's really that many that are even like mediocre. Like they're all interesting in their own way. Most of them are multidimensional too. I think. I know, like obviously they have their main trope or their main thing, but they also have some depth and they're not just big sulky idiot who doesn't understand things. Like even the villain, what's his name, Tatsuma the Platehead. Like even he is proven to have he's
Well,
like
you
proven
mean
to
Dick Sensei.
yes,
Yeah.
Chipo Sensei, yes.
I
Like
loved
he's
her
proven.
screaming for him.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
good.
That was probably the best moment in dub because it made it even more embarrassing and it was even more funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was saying though, I think that even that character, even though he's supposed to be stupid meathead, whatever, just I big Hulk smash, whatever. Like no, it's proven that he has some intelligence to him. He's thinking about things. He's not just some meathead who's doing everything that Tsurumi tells him to. He has some own independent thought, which I really liked. So yeah, why don't we
He's
move
more
on?
than. Sorry.
No. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was
He's
gonna
more
say
than-
he's more than an obstacle for the party to move around. Rather, like a lot of these bruisers in anime tend to be. He's
Yeah,
his
that's
own
true.
character with motivations and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like
100%.
him saving the doctor and whatnot.
And also, I do want to talk about because we haven't even covered this aspect. Well, we have. If we have, we've barely done it, but we haven't covered this aspect of all the factions. It's the faction uh of the samurai dude and his side of things. The reason why he wants the gold, he is one of the most sly people I have seen in anime in a while. Because he's just like, if you don't know what's going on with him, like he's an old dude. And then the moment he pulls out a sword, he's like the fucking demon. He's fucking amazing. And having that along with forehead dude.
Ushiyama.
Yeah,
Dick Sensei.
Dick Sensei.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Let's move on. Kat, what's your final thoughts and your final score for Golden Kamuy season 1?
Oh, God, this show made me remember why I fell in love with this show. I still love the show, but like going back to the beginning again makes me just feel so fucking good. Um, like just having all the depth of the characters mixed together, along with having a story that is so well done that it draws you in even after you've seen all of the show that is out so far, again, is it's amazing. And I I'm gonna rewatch all of it just before, like now, probably tonight, and then again uh before season 4 comes out, and I'm gonna have a great time with it. For my final score for the first season, uh just because I know what comes next, I am going to rate it at an 8. Mainly because the show improves so much. Like if this was the first time I've ever seen it, I would have rated it 10 because I had so much fun with it. Like even the two small gripes that well, the CGI probably would have had it at a 9 actually. But like even the small gripes that Pete had with it with the backgrounds, they didn't really affect me, and like I didn't even notice it. So I had so much fun with this show. And it's just because I know what's next and just because I know how it improves, it's gonna be an 8 for me.
An 8 out of 10. Alrighty. Jay, what have you got?
Um, so my final thoughts are, as someone who has not seen the rest of the show, I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to continue it. Like I said, I would recommend it to pretty much anybody who can like handle the not even necessarily the amount of gore. If you can stomach like any amount of gore in anime, excuse me, I think you'll be fine with this, and I think you'll enjoy it. There, like I said, there's something for anybody. Um, the CGI does definitely keep it from being a perfect 10 for me, but it's a pretty small factor. So overall, I am going to I'm feeling a 9 for me.
A 9. Nice, Jay. Good for you. I respect that score quite a bit. Pete, what have you got?
Man, just show this show. I'm trying to think since Watch Club. When's the last time we watched a show that just is like I enjoyed the entire way through? Maybe Odd Taxi. It's been a minute where just like I had no like I want more. Like I didn't want season 1 to be over then. Like that was such a fun ride. If I wasn't watching 20 seasonals, I probably would have kept watching more. Just an absolute great show. I think it's a great starting point for the series. Kind of like what Jay said, I think when I compare these shows to like something like Mob Psycho, which is a similar style of storytelling with like the cast and having the mix of like comedy and serious moments, I don't think it's quite there, but I think it can be with more content and just an absolute delight to watch. Had so much fun. If I ever rewatch it, it sounds like the dub is good too, so I would be interested in trying it out in dub sometime as well. I'm gonna give it a 9. I love this show. This is great. I would recommend it to almost everybody.
9. Nice. All right. So for my closing thoughts, first I'll highlight some of our usual cast members, the main club members, so to speak. Johnny ended up giving the show an 8, and Miles ended up giving it a 7, with the potential to flex up to an 8. So it's too bad we weren't able to try to convince him tonight to bump it up, but that's okay. But I'm gonna factor in their scores to our final scores as well, just as a heads up before anyone tries to correct my math. I think one thing we didn't talk about in the show was the music. At least we talked about it beforehand, but we didn't talk about it on this recording. Um, I don't know. I thought the OP and the ED were great. The
Yeah.
actual OST itself too was really good too. Like it felt like it fit the setting. I think that only stays. Like I don't know. The third season's OP was actually like a sneaky, should have been probably in the anime OP of the year running last year. Like I should I should have shielded for it harder, honestly, because I've just forgot that it was there. So I don't know. Other than that, though, I think we've highlighted all the important points about this show. You can have a lot of fun with it as long as you don't take too seriously about it. You know, like you don't sit there and like oh, how did that guy survive a shot to the chest? Or how did this guy get hit by the barrel of a gun in the head and not die of brain damage? It's like, no, just accept what's happening because the absurdity of it is consistent. It's consistent throughout, I think at least. I know there was some discussion
Agreed.
about that within our group that it felt a little inconsistent, but to me it was super consistent. And I love history. I love the setting. I love the time period. I love that it's a different take on the Russo-Japanese War because all I've ever learned about is from the Americans' perspective of what happens in the Russo-Japanese War, not what the Japanese themselves thought or what the soldiers themselves might have felt after the conflict. And it's not just there to like give Sugimoto some sort of you know backstory, so to speak, right? Where he's this super soldier. Like no, it is part of the story, and it does that more in seasons 2 and 3. But the after effects of the war are felt throughout this story, and it's great. So all that being said, I don't know why, but I when I first watched it, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I think I've given every season an 8 out of 10. Maybe part of that is the appearance of it. Sometimes it also does feel a little too absurd for my taste, even though I enjoy the hell out of the show. I do sometimes sit there and go, oh my god, like why is this happening? Like I don't know, it's so weird. It's almost the same vein as Konosuba for me, where I love Konosuba to death. I think it's one of my favorite comedies, but because it's so comedy driven, it's hard for me to score it higher than like an 8. I don't know though. It's so weird. It just that's where it sits in my heart. It's like the strongest 8 that you can find. So, after that, totaling up our scores, which that should be between 6 people's scores. I can do math. Patrick, good job. That averages us out to an 8.16 for Golden Kamuy. So that is at season 1 of Golden Kamuy specifically as well, which I believe season 1 was what? What was it? A
7.85.
7.85. So a little bit higher. And again, seasons 2 and 3 get higher and higher as well as we continue. Um, but yeah, that's exciting. Again, I'm so glad everyone enjoyed it. I was a little worried coming into it that it might not be great. It's I don't know. Again, it's just like a show that I was like, "Oh no, are we just gonna hate on it, or are we gonna think it's stupid, or
Is it
be
gonna
like,
be
what the hell is?"
non-Baka Part 2?
Yeah, oh yeah, I didn't think it would be that bad. I knew it wouldn't be that bad. Come on, it's not Nanbaka, but it's
I brought that joke up on myself.
yeah, you did. I wasn't gonna make it, I promise. But yeah, I know. Again, it's exciting that we all talked about it and liked it. I'm glad to hear that most people, it sounds like, want to watch seasons 2 and 3, and then hopefully season 4 will come out. And we can talk about it every week. I'm excited. I can't wait for you guys to get to the Stenka scene. I think that was just such a delight to watch last year. And it
The
happens like the second episode, I think, of season 3, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Second
great.
episode, just immediately, I had to pause because I was laughing too hard.
I did too. My and my roommates who were watching with me were laughing quite hard as well because they just loved it. It's so freaking good. But yeah, so that wraps up our discussion for Golden Kamuy. Now, you guys are wondering right now, if you're familiar listeners, what are we gonna do? Miles isn't here to do Miles things and tell us who won.
And
Don't
just
worry.
for reference for people to know where Miles currently is, he passed away.
He did. He's just in another chat. It's his wife.
We'll miss you, Miles.
Love you.
Rest in peace.
This is so fucking dark. Like, where did that come from? Okay. Yeah, now he's no longer Miles, and now he's Miles,
He's
right?
Adam.
Or he's Adam. Yeah, no, don't tell that. Don't
Adam
tell the
Oh,
people.
whoa, whoa,
2.0.
shh.
That's
Yeah,
kilometers,
shh.
dude.
Yes. Yeah, he's gone from miles to kilometers. I like that. That's good. But yeah, so in third place, because and granted these might change. I know the winner. I don't know the second or third places in case other votes just jostled them a little bit. But in third place, we had Sound Euphonium. That was nominated, right? That's what sound has to be. Yep.
Hibike Euphonium.
There we go. In second place, we have Erased, earning a legacy point as well. And then in first place, what we are watching for December the 27th. Bungo Stray Dogs.
The J
Yo.
Factor, baby!
The J Factor. I thought that I forgot that I didn't nominate it because I forgot it.
What did you nominate? Did you nominate Jobless? Is that what you did?
No, that was Johnny. He did
That was
Erased.
Johnny.
He did Erase.
Cat did
Okay,
Erased.
yeah. Fourth was Punchline, so somehow we
Wow.
avoided giving a legacy point to that show. I know.
Astra had 2 legacy points. I got damn.
Actually, yes. Astra got with legacy points. Astra would have been, Pat. What's math? 5th. But without legacy points, it would have been 6th.
Feels bad. Feels bad.
I voted for it first, so don't. There's
My
someone who's
man.
supporting it. I'm curious. It seems interesting. But yeah, all right. Now I get to do Miles's harder job, which is write down everyone's nominations while also asking you guys what you're nominating. So let me do that real quick. Yeah, Pat, you're killing it right now. What is your nomination, Kat?
I don't know how many people that are in here that have. What's up?
I thought you were gonna say I don't have one. It sounded like that's what you were saying, and I was just gonna be like, God damn it! How
It's
have
only
we
been
not
2
learned?
years.
It's only been 2 years. How do we not have one? But I'm sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm just.
So I have my nomination is going to be one that I hope that Miles will not kill me for. It is Fate Apocrypha.
Yeah, he's going to kill you for that.
Apocrypha. Can
Good
I
thing
spell
Haz in here would vote for it out of spite.
I'm gonna- Damn it. Oh,
Someone-
it is 25 episodes.
Fate
Yeah, so we can't watch it?
Damn it.
Okay,
Oh,
so it is
shit.
Kat's first time. Can I go?
Yeah. Why don't Kat? While you find your other answer, Pete, go ahead, please.
I'm going to try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and try to catch up on shows this year before the Anime Year Award. So I'm going to nominate the Madhouse original, Sunny Boy.
Dude, that was
Sunny
almost
boy.
my nomination.
Hey, great taste.
Thank you.
Apologies if you can hear me typing as well, but I think Discord's actually got some pretty cool features that prevent that from happening now. So that's pretty
No, we
cool.
can't.
Oh wow, that is awesome! All right,
That's
Sunny
fine.
Boy.
I'm gonna edit the podcast. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, okay, Pete. Over my dead body. Yeah, good luck with that. Jay, what's the J factor bringing this week?
So I am going to do something similar to Pete, but instead, since I am an anime baby in some ways, when it comes to like watching the old classics, I'm going to recommend something that is almost 30 years old at this point. I am going to nominate Serial Experiments Lane.
Ooh.
You don't need to understand. Yeah, Serial Experiments Lane. Let's go. That's an exciting show. That you just got Miles's vote, I bet. Well, Miles's vote. Sorry, because he's gone.
I might come
Cat.
back for that one.
Yeah, he'll come back from the dead. Yeah, doesn't that?
I-
We won't say anything about the show. Never mind. Cat,
I-
what's your nomination? Go ahead, buddy.
I really wanted to watch Fate Apocrypha with Miles so I could shoot on it, but I have to nominate Erased again because I still haven't seen it, and I'm not gonna watch it with that by myself. So, Erased for the second time.
Erase. That's the yeah. There it is. All right, I got it. Good job, Pat. Found all the shows to put them in our list on our Watch Club channel. Which, by the way, if you want to vote and you're listening still for some God knows why reason, you can vote. You can let us know and vote based off the nominations that we've put in. Please do join the Discord.
Pat,
Do
you
come
haven't
talk to
nommed.
us. I know. No, I was getting there. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay,
I did type
sorry.
out my nom though. Good catch though. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't blame you for thinking I forgot. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. It didn't do as well as I hoped in this week's voting, but I'm gonna stick with the movie, The Princess and the Pilot. It looks nice. It looks pleasant. It looks like something that we would all at least enjoy somewhat. So I think that that's a pretty cool show or movie. It looks like so. Yeah, The Princess and the Pilot will be my nomination. But yeah, all right. That wraps up nominations. That wraps up all club activities. So Pete, why don't you take it away?
Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're listening or watching us on. If you don't know yet, we have visual content on Spotify now, so check us out there if you don't want to watch us on YouTube. And next week, before we start breaking down the year that was 2021, we are going to look forward to what we have in the year 2022 with such legendary hard hitters as Attack on Titan and Ari Fueta. So next week is our winter 2022 preview. Otherwise, in 2 weeks, we will be seeing you for Watch Club for Bungo Stray Dogs. So thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Hey.